you a person who loves to read? A person who wants to know more about herbs and herbal remedies and bushcraft survival? Thought I would show you some of the books that my husband and I bought for ourselves and or each other, and a couple of books that I got for Christmas. So let's do it. The first book that I got this year, oops, that's weird. Sorry, I got something on the cover. Anyway, this book is one that I got for Christmas. Healing Mushrooms, A Practical Guide to Medicinal Mushrooms by Richard Bray. I am about, I don't know, maybe a fifth of the way through it. Because right now it's not a season where there's a ton of mushrooms out. And the few that are, I already kind of know about. I've already looked those up. But it's got some different sections. One of the sections is by herb. So when you look that up, you've got pictures of the herbs, and also it shows you the different parts that have the different properties, which I think is really interesting and important if you want to make the most effective medicines from your herbs, or if you want to include them in your cooking for a specific illness or to help with a certain thing. Knowing which part of the mushroom helps with which things can really help you to concentrate the most healing per bite, especially when we're talking about mushrooms that help with either fighting cancer or like helping with the side effects of chemo, things like that. Somebody that's going through chemo, they may not be able to eat much. So you want every bite to be packed with as much of the herbal medicine as you can get. So there's another section with properties that you're looking for or conditions. For example, let's find a better one. For example, Alzheimer's. And it tells you a bit about what's happening with that disorder. And then it tells you herbs that help and what they do. For example, lion's mane is kind of your go-to for Alzheimer's because it has a lot of properties that help you, help your brain to continue to function well throughout your life. And then they've got basic information at the end about ways to extract the properties, tinctures, ways to cook, the different mushrooms. Not like a lot of recipes, but just, it's a good book. It's a good source of information. There's it's got a lot of source material, 337 sources cited in the book, which I think is amazing. So I got that for Christmas from my Aunt Martha. I also got this from Aunt Martha. I specifically asked for this book because it is a Green Beret's, it is Herbal Medic, a Green Beret's Guide to Emergency Medical Preparedness and Natural First Aid by Sam Kaufman. So inside this book, it has all different kinds of things. So it's got traditional first aid, then it's got herbal first aid, and basically part 2 is kind of like how your body works and what to do to make to get the medicinal properties out of your herbs or your fungi or whatever you're going to use. And then part 3 is the Herbal Medic in Action, and this has got it's got shock and types of shock, wounds, burns, fractures, environmental injuries, venoms and poisons, viral and bacterial infections, and then it's got some things that really are not necessarily emergency. Ears, eyes, ears, nose, and throat. But it's got acute care for UTI, stomach stuff, internal parasites, and emergency childbirth. And then there's a section at the back. It's page, 253. And it's got 70 herbs to know. And those herbs have your basic information about it, its main actions, medical uses, special notes, which I think is really important. That's where your cautions go. Your dosage. A lot of places do not include dosage, which is very annoying. So I think that's going to be amazing. Haven't really started this one yet. Still working on the healing mushrooms, plus a bunch of books I got from the library. Aw, a squirrel just ran by the window. Jonas. Okay, anyway. So my husband got these. It's 3 different books. There is Bushcraft 101, Bushcraft First Aid, and Advanced Bushcraft. So these are by Dave Canterbury. If you've ever watched Dual Survival, I believe, is the one he was on. He's one of the military guys that were on there. To me, they all kind of blend together, to be honest. Cody's the only one that really stands out because, you know, he's the crazy hippie that doesn't wear shoes. Anyway, totally beside the point. But my husband has really, really gotten a lot out of these. From this one, you can see how far in he is. And he has outfitted both of our backpacks with all of the basic supplies the book says that we need. He has had a lot of fun learning about different types of survival items that are helpful in case you get lost on a trail or in case a disaster happens, things like that. So I haven't looked over these deeply. Of course, I'm clearly excited about the Bushcraft First Aid. You know which book I'm going to read first. But I think they're going to be really neat. And then I chose the last 3. James chose those. I chose these. Well, actually, I think this one we bought together. So we had like a specific budget, how much each of us could spend, and each of us had enough to put in half on this one. This is Making Native American Hunting, Fighting, and Survival Tools. So I got a little into this and got very distracted because it has really cool information about flint knapping, where you use rocks to make arrowheads and things like that. So I definitely think this is going to be a book that I'm gonna do some work on and then come back to, and do some work on and come back to, because now I really want to try flint knapping. I just need to get some flint. So it's got all different kinds of wisdom in here. It's got, it's got the things it says. Flint knapping, arrows, bows, bowstrings and quivers, food gathering, cooking, and other tools, which has like basket and pottery, woodenware, which would be fun, fishing tools, hunting tools, and warfare. So this one is really neat. I love it. This one, Primitive Technology, A Survivalist's Guide to Building Tools, Shelter, and More in the Wild by John Plant. Haven't even opened it yet, to be honest. It's the first time I've opened it. Well, no, it's not the first time I opened it, because I feel like I looked at it when I was looking for flint knapping. I looked at all the books. So it has kind of similar information, but it's got basic things you need to have. Ways to make heat, ways to hunt, clothing and textiles, advanced tools, shelter, and primitive pyrotechnology, making fire. So I feel like, oh, and it's got, oh, it does have, that's beyond primitive pyrotechnology, natural draft furnace, forge blower, updraft kiln, iron prills, I don't know what that means, reusable charcoal mound. So it's got a lot of neat stuff that I think we're going to get a lot out of. In Secrets of the Forest, Volume 1, Wild Plants and Survival Lore by Mark Warren. And it's got, let me get in here to its table of contents. Oh, and it doesn't seem to have a table of contents. Oh, yep, there it is. So it's got a lot about like what to do as far as like finding plants, foraging, etc., staying safe in the woods, things like that. But it's also got specifics, 100 plants and their many gifts, browsing the green market, edible plants of the wild, medicines from plants, winter botany. Shoot, I need to look at that. Probably gonna do that tonight. But then part 2 is also about survival. So cordage, building shelter, multi-use rabbit stick. I don't know what that is or what it means. Water purification, adventures with larvae, cooking in the wild, traps and snares, etc., etc. So, like I said, this is volume 1. I'm not sure how many volumes there are, but overall, I have found that to be pretty solid. I've looked through it. I haven't read every single page or anything, but I think it's going to be good. I really think that we have a good, solid start for our library on survival and herbalism, but of course it'll always keep growing. So what I would like to know from you, my amazing followers, is what books have really helped you with gardening, foraging, canning, whatever. Anything in your homesteadish journey toward becoming more self-sufficient or more independent from the pharmaceutical world or from the big pharma with an F world or whatever. Let me know what books you would recommend for us to buy next, because James and I are huge book people. We have tons of books, and computers are great, but at the end of the day, if anything crazy happens, books may not be available, or computers may not be available, but books, you don't need electricity to get to their knowledge. You know, this year we had a horrible storm, and we were without power for 4 days, and it really put a lot into perspective about exactly how fragile things are in as far as access to electricity and the comforts of modern life. So I think we're focusing more on, if we do research on the computer, typing it up and printing it, or having books instead. So yeah, anyway, I would love it if you would tell me what you would recommend that we read next. And I'm sure everybody will love reading your comments and seeing what they might want to read. So as always, if you like this video, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and as always, eat something wild. These books will tell you how.